Hello, hello. Welcome to the last game. Game number 4, day 2 of the May Meltdown tournament at the Derby Depot. I'm Shifty Hips, and y'all are fantastic for coming out to watch roller derby. We have in this game the Wasatch Midnight Terror wearing the white jerseys and FOCO roller derby in the black jerseys. We're just under a minute to start time, and this should be an awesome game to watch. All right, lined up for the first jam, Spilly Idol for FOCO and Devil's Ivy for Wasatch. There's the whistle. Spilly Idol goes for the middle of the track. Ivy tiptoes around the outside lane, grabs lead jammer status, and she's off. Running fast. Spilly Idol trying to make it pass. We got a star pass. So Popper will be the new jammer. And Devil's Ivy grabs 4 points and calls off the jam. Quick jam, 4 points to get Wasatch on the board. Up next, Sid Vicious jamming for FOCO and Roller Bear for Wasatch. Wasatch defenders are right up at the line. FOCO settles in just ahead of them. That's the whistle. Roller Bear tiptoes around the inside, swings out wide, outside lane, grabs it. Lead jammer for Roller Bear. Sid Vicious shoving, trying to get past this wall of Wasatch. And Roller Bear slams into the FOCO wall and gets held up by their tripod. Looks to the outside, can't find it, swings to the inside. FOCO's right there with her. Sid Vicious getting pinched in a vice there at the Wasatch tripod. But looks like Sid Vicious makes it through and is on a scoring pass. Roller Bear scoops up 4 quick points and ends the jam. Fireball will be the next jammer for FOCO, and Hit and Roll is up for Wasatch. A little bit of breathing room for the jammers at the beginning. Let's see what they do with it. A little bit of a scuffle there. Hit and Roll gets out, comes back in, scrambling to try to get ahead. Hit and Roll makes it on his toe stops, and off they go. And look out, Fireball blasts through the last defenders and is also on a scoring pass. Hit and Roll eyeing the pack, takes a couple friendly bumps, stays in and upright, and decides to call off the jam before Fireball can reach the pack. So 3 points there for Wasatch. Some quick, short jams here so far. Very strategic, trying to maintain tempo and prevent the other team from scoring, of course. We've got Furious George jamming for Wasatch and MDK for FOCO. Jammers split to go different ways. Roller Bear falls out of bounds on the outside lane, comes back in. MDK likewise recycled back by Colonel Skirts. George cuts around, makes it through. Furious George is the lead jammer. Off like a shot. MDK still fighting to get through. Takes a nudge from Bip out of bounds and recycled back. Roller Bear smoothly swings in on the inside lane, picking up 4 more points. Bear stumbles around the outside lane, down to 2 blockers left to beat. Trying, spinning, still stuck between them. Can't quite get there. Bear finally makes it through, grabbing 4 more points. There was a whistle. Looks like a FOCO blocker is headed to Penalty Town. MDK still trying to find a gap. Does make a star pass, though. Gonzo is the new jammer. And Roller Bear calls off the jam as Gonzo shoots closer to the pack. A big 12 points there for Wasatch. And still managing to hold the FOCO without any points. Starting up jam number 5. And we've got a team timeout called by FOCO. Each team gets 3 timeouts for the entire game. Only 3, 60 seconds each. This gives us a moment to thank some of our sponsors for the tournament this weekend. We'd like to thank Pie Pizzeria. They've been a longtime sponsor of Roller Derby here in Salt Lake. And they have delicious pizza also. So if you see the pie, you should grab some pizza. Also, thank you to the Radio from Hell morning show on X96 with Carrie, Bill, and Gina. That rolling whistle means timeout time is over. Derby time is back. Devil's Ivy jamming for Wasatch, and Popper is wearing the cap for FOCO. Both jammers go to the outside lane. Popper gets shoved out of bounds, and Devil's Ivy makes it through as the lead jammer. Ivy on the run as Bip, the pivot for Wasatch, heads to the penalty box. Looks like Popper's made it through, is on a scoring pass. And Devil's Ivy decides we're not going to have a foot race right now. Calling the jam off. We have Roller Bear jamming for Wasatch. Spilly Idol for FOCO. FOCO defenders are right up at the jam line. Wasatch defenders settle in behind them, or ahead of them, rather. Off they go. Spilly Idol almost made it through. Fell off of toe stops and out of bounds. They get recycled back. Roller Bear almost slipped through. But meanwhile, Spilly Idol found an opening and is the lead jammer. Roller Bear almost made it past, hung up by 1 defender now. FOCO bridging to keep Bear stuck in traffic. Now they've got a full tripod in front of Bear. Tough defense to get past. Spilly Idol has run into some troubles of their own now. Both jammers fighting to get through. Idol up against the last 2 defenders now. And we've got a star pass for Wasatch. Bip will be wearing the star now. And Spilly still trying to get past that last, can't get past the last Wasatch defender and calls the jam off. 4 hard-earned points there for FOCO, putting them on the board. And holding Wasatch to 0 points. And we have an official timeout for official business, which officially I don't know. Another one of our sponsors, Big Willie's Sports Bar in Salt Lake City, Utah. You can catch some more Derby excitement there after the games tonight for the after party. Also want to thank Pit Viper Sunglasses, functional, fun-loving gear. That rolling whistle means the official timeout is over. Derby time is back. Sid Vicious jamming for FOCO. Hit and roll for Wasatch. Hit and roll taking a more reserved start. Eyes the inside lane. Falls out of bounds. Looks like hit and roll may have taken hits somewhere in the face area, but they were able to skate off under their own power, so that is always a good sign. Medics are going to check them out. And the officials are gathering in the center to probably discuss if a penalty needs to be assessed or something like that. Now, folks, if you enjoy what you're seeing right here tonight, there will be more roller derby action next Saturday at FitCon. We have 3 games planned. FitCon, that is not here. That is at the Sandy Expo Center. But the game start times are scheduled for 12, 2, and 4 p.m. So if you can't wait for more derby action, catch us next weekend at FitCon. Alrighty, the official timeout is over. Fireball is up the jam line for FOCO. Furious George for Wasatch. Bit of runaway here before they get to the defenders. Fireball jumps over the apex, falls down, pops back up though. Fireball is the lead jammer of record. Furious George made it through though. Look out, these are 2 very fast skaters. Pack is on the move. Jammer's going to have to catch up to that pack. Fireball about less than a quarter track distance separating the 2 jammers. Now Fireball gets in there, calls off the jam. Let's see if it was fast enough. FOCO picked up 3 big points there. Wasatch also grabbed 3 points. That puts the score at 30 points for Wasatch and 7 for FOCO. Starting up jam number 9, MDK Demolition jamming for FOCO and Devil's Ivy for Wasatch. Ivy swings out wide in the outside lane and picks up the lead jammer status. MDK looks like it was nudged out of bounds and recycled back, so they have to try again to get past the crowd. Ivy swoops in on the outside lane, hangs on by a toe stop, swoops inside, makes it through. Ivy picks up 4 points. We do have a star pass to Gonzo, and Devil's Ivy ends the jam. So quick 4 points for Wasatch. We do have an empty penalty box at the moment, so that means all 10 skaters are on the track. And off they go. Popper jamming for FOCO. Roller Bear for Wasatch. Popper slightly ahead, caught up in the wall of Wasatch. Getting shoved around a bit. Roller Bear slams into FOCO's defenders. Nice little 2-wall. Almost got Roller Bear out, but Bear managed to stay inbounds, so Roller Bear is the lead jammer. And off they go. One Wasatch defender headed to the penalty box for half a minute of self-reflection. Looks like Popper managed to get through all those skaters and is on a scoring pass now. Roller Bear trying to find an opening. Held up, unable to get through the defense, and calls the jam off. So 3 points for Wasatch's troubles there. Next up to jams, Billy Idol for FOCO and Hit and Roll for Wasatch. Hit and roll with some shuffling footwork. Shuffles out of bounds. Billy Idol makes it through. Takes the lead jammer status. Hit and roll. Crashing between defenders. Makes it through on a scoring pass now. Billy Idol. Not a lot of track left before Hit and Roll gets there. Hit and Roll is there. Smashes into the pack. Trying to break through. Get some points. Defenders shove Hit and Roll out of bounds. Wasatch's pivot heads to the penalty box. Hit and Roll made it through, scooping up 4 points. And Billy Idol grabs 4 points as well and ends the jam. So a slight numbers advantage going to FOCO at the start here with one Wasatch defender in the box. Furious George and Sid Vicious are the jammers. Sid Vicious out in front, goes to the outside lane. Scrambling through, down to 2 defenders left. Breaks them apart, 1 defender left, beats them. Sid Vicious is lead jammer. Moving fast. And looks like we do have 1 penalty assessed to a FOCO defender. Roller Bear manages to get out of the crowd, cap back on their head, and is on a scoring pass. Sid Vicious takes a spill to the ground, and Furious George swooping low under the arms. And the jam called off. Official timeout is called. So brief discussion over the points. I imagine there's some concern about when the call-off was whistled. We'll find out here soon enough. Well, it looks like the points will stand. So there were 4 earned there from Wasatch, 1 from FOCO. New jam starting up. Fireball against Devil's Ivy. The jammers close in. Ivy shoved out of bounds on the outside. Pops back in. Ivy to the inside lane. Can't find an opening. Fireball is recycled back. Ivy fighting hard on the outside. Looks like they managed to stay inbounds. So Devil's Ivy is the lead jammer. Fireball almost made it through. Those Wasatch defenders regrouped quickly in front of Fireball. And Fireball looking for an opening, anything to get through. Ivy's back at it. Almost found a hole in the inside, but fell to the out-of-bounds area. So Ivy comes back in. We've got a forearm penalty assessed to Bowser from FOCO. Ivy down to 2 defenders to beat. Trying to get past that 2-wall. Does make it on the outside. Fireball still stuck in traffic here behind the wall of Wasatch. Devil's Ivy has run into some traffic troubles of their own. Fighting hard. 1 defender left to beat. Blows up. Great movement there by that FOCO defender. And Ivy is moving on. Looks like Fireball has made it through on a scoring pass. We got whistles all over the place. People are going to the penalty box. Jam is called off. We've got a lot of traffic over in penalty land. It's looking like 2 Wasatch defenders and 1 FOCO taking some time to think about life's choices, while the remaining crew takes to the track. So it's going to be Roller Bear plus 2 defenders up against MDK and 3 defenders. Let's see what happens here. MDK shoved out by Colonel Skirts on the inside. Roller Bear side to side finally shakes off the defenders, gets through. Bear is the lead jammer. MDK coming for another go around. Swings out wide, hits up Colonel Skirts again. Roller Bear trying to find an opening on the inside, nudged out of bounds. Outside lane, knocked down by the pivot from FOCO. Recovers quickly though, and makes it through for 4 points. Great stability there to get back up after those jarring hits. We've got a star pass for FOCO. So Popper is the new jammer, and moving quickly. Popper does their job, gets there quick enough to force a call off. So 6 points will go to Wasatch from that jam. 0 for FOCO. That takes our score to 62 Wasatch, 12 FOCO, and under 14 minutes. We got 13 and change left in the first half. Boss Bowser is jamming for FOCO. Hit and roll for Wasatch. Bowser goes in front, barreling through. 1 defender left to beat. Bowser goes down on 1 knee, back up. Bowser is the lead jammer. Crashing through those defenders. Look out. Hit and roll. Trying to find an opening. Trying to get through. Trying to get something. Hit and roll. Stumbles to the out of bounds inside lane. And is recycled back. Bowser down to Rails. Rails can't stretch it far enough. And Bowser gets through for 4 more points. 4 big points and a big old smile from Bowser after that one. We have 1 Wasatch defender in the penalty box. We got Furious George jamming for Wasatch. Spilly Idol up for FOCO. FOCO defenders are right there up the jam line. Whistle blows. And both jammers scramble, looking for openings. Bear to the outside, shoved out of bounds, recycled back. Spilly Idol catches a hip from Bip, knocked out of bounds. And, oh boy, Roller Bear to the penalty box. We got Furious George to the penalty box. Pardon, that's a power jam for FOCO. So with only 1 jammer on the track right now, but there's still the problem of defenders to get past. Spilly Idol having a hard time getting through that wall of Wasatch, and it is a tough wall to break. Oh, and we got a penalty assessed to Spilly Idol. So Idol to the box. George is back out of penalty land. Moving quickly. Out in front, there will be no lead jammer on this one. We're going to go the full 2 minutes. Furious George round the horn into the straightaway. Looking for an opening. The Wasatch blockers trying to break up the wall from FOCO. Somewhat successful, but still not a big enough opening. Multiple people flying out of bounds. That's going to be another one for Bip off to penalty land. Furious George eyeing the crowd again. Spilly Idol is back from penalty land. Down to a 2-wall to beat. Scoots past them and is now on a scoring pass. So, a lot of scrappy hits out there. George buffeted around a bit. Shoved out of bounds on the inside. Spilly Idol scoops up 4 points here right towards the end of the jam. And that is the end of it. 2 long minutes of shoving there. 4 points apiece. That takes us 66-20. Devil's Ivy will be jamming for Wasatch. Sid Vicious wearing the cap for FOCO. About 10 minutes left in the first half. That's the whistle. And Sid Vicious stumbling through, managed to stay upright and inbound somehow. I don't know. That was amazing balance. Got through. Sid Vicious is the lead jammer. Devil's Ivy right on their tail, though. Fast-moving pack. And Sid Vicious decides not to chance it and calls the jam off before Ivy can get any points. But FOCO did pick up 2 points from that last jam. Fireball and Roller Bear are the jammers. Roller Bear almost making it through. Oh, we've got jammers and officials down. Roller Bear is the lead jammer. Fireball recovered quickly from the spill. Finds an opening on the inside lane. Fireball will be on a scoring pass now. Roller Bear catching a ride from the pivots from Wasatch. Scoots through for 4 points. Calls off the jam. We have MDK jamming for FOCO. Hit and roll wearing the cap for Wasatch. There's the whistle. MDK to the inside. Hit and roll inside as well. Tiptoes on the line. Gets through as lead jammer. MDK with a star pass complete. So Gonzo is the jammer of record. Little hop, skip, and a jump for hit and roll. Scooping up some more points. And hit and roll. Swoops in. Backwards. Calling off the jam. And 8 points will go to Wasatch from that jam. 0 go to FOCO. We do have 1 Wasatch blocker in the box. Spilly Idol jamming for FOCO up against Furious George. A little bit of a gap there before they hit the defenders. George tiptoeing on the inside lane, grabs lead jammer. And we have a star pass. Popper picks up the star. George spins into the defenders out of bounds and calls off the jam. A 0-point jam, that one. Oh, pardon me. Wasatch picked up 2 points in that last jam. Devil's Ivy is up at the line for Wasatch, going against Sid Vicious. Defenders are right there on the line. Ivy to the inside lane. Spin move gets through. Ivy's lead jammer. Sid Vicious scrambling. Quick footwork shaking off defenders left and right. Almost made it and stepped out of bounds. Has to go back to the back of the pack. Ivy fighting hard. Swoops past that last defender for 4 points for Wasatch. And Sid Vicious finds an opening, takes it. Sid Vicious is through and ready to score points now. Devil's Ivy ramming into around the last defenders and calls off the jam just in the nick of time before Sid Vicious makes it to the pack. Eight big points for Wasatch there. We've got Fireball wearing the star for FOCO. We have Roller Bear up there for Wasatch. We have an empty penalty box. That means everyone is on the track who can be on the track. Whistle blows. Fireball looking to the inside lane. Can't get it. Roller Bear shoved out of bounds on the inside lane. Both jammers trying to go side to side, shake off the defenders. Fireball out of bounds on the inside and recycled way back. As Roller Bear shakes through the last defender, picks up the lead jammer status. So Bear returns to the back of the pack. Slams into defenders from FOCO, nudged out of bounds there by 96. That's Jacqueline Hyde. And Fireball takes a spill out of bounds, recycled back by Lavender Menace. And we got a whistle on the track. Looks like a high block assessed to somebody. FOCO blocker. I believe that was Jacqueline Hyde. So starting up Jam 23 with 4 minutes left to go in the first half. Hit and roll jamming for Wasatch. MDK demolition for FOCO. Defenders settle down there at the line. Little love tap there between jammers as they try to make space. Hit and roll knocked down to the ground. Recycled back by Bowser. Great hit by Bowser. Hit and roll sees an opening though and takes it. Puts on the speed. There's hit and roll on the inside lane as lead jammer. We got a pivot hit the ground from FOCO. Wasatch pivot heads to the penalty box. We have a successful star pass. Gonzo is the jammer now. Pack's moving and hit and roll calls off the jam. Keeping a tight hold on that tempo there, using those lead jammer powers to call it off early and box out FOCO. We'll be starting this jam with Popper wearing the star for FOCO and Furious George up for Wasatch. We have one Wasatch defender in the box. That is the pivot though. So Roller Bear, or George, pardon, makes it through. Won't be needing a star pass today. Popper's made it through as well though. About half a track behind Furious George. George at the back of the pack slips through all the defenders at once and calls the jam off. Great work by Wasatch defenders, making a hole there wide open for George to run through. 99 points for Wasatch, 22 for FOCO. 2 minutes left on the game clock. We have Devil's Ivy and Spilly Idol starting up skate to skate at the jam line. Shoulder to shoulder, they split, go opposite ways. Ivy, little nudge there. Ivy looks to the inside, takes a hit from blocker, keeps on ticking, goes down on one knee though. Ivy back up. Spilly Idol scoots around the outside of the wall, makes it through. Spilly Idol is the lead jammer. Devil's Ivy caught in traffic, held up big time by those defenders. Spilly now in position to score. Trying to follow their pivot through, didn't quite make the hole big enough. Ivy gets around the last defender. Devil's Ivy on a scoring pass now. Spilly Idol stuck, shoved, almost out of bounds, stays in though. Furious George taken out of bounds by Gonzo. Back in, try again. And Spilly Idol calls off the jam. We got 4 points awarded to FOCO. 2 go to Wasatch. That will put Wasatch over the 100 mark. 101 for Wasatch. We've got 35 seconds left on the game clock. This could be the last jam of the half. We'll have to see. The penalty box is empty, though. Roller Bear jamming for Wasatch. Sid Vicious for FOCO. Both of them tangled up in this mess of defenders. Bear going side to side. Big opening there in the outside lane, though. Bear takes it off to the races. Look out. Sid Vicious made it through as well. No, Roller Bear going to the penalty box. Boy, howdy. We got a power jam here, folks. And the regulation time has expired, so we are on Sid Vicious's clock. No, we're not. We got no lead jammer. This will go the whole 2 minutes. And Sid Vicious barreling through, picking up 4 big points there for FOCO. Round the horn. Back to the back of the pack now. And slamming into the wall of Wasatch. Great work from FOCO's defenders. Shoved the whole wall off to the side. Made an opening the size of Texas for Sid Vicious to get through. Vicious eyeing the wall again now. Outside lane. Vicious. 1 defender left to beat. Vicious gets it. More points for FOCO. Roller Bear is back from penalty land. Knocked about there by the defenders. 40 seconds left to go. Sid Vicious back to the back of the pack. Takes a spill off of Ultra Violence, I think that is, or Lavender Menace. Recycled back. Bear stuck hard on that tripod from FOCO. They're staying with Bear. Bear out of bounds. Getting recycled back. Sid Vicious knocked around out of bounds on the inside lane. Both jammers looking for an opening. Riding it out till the blessed whistle blows. Sid Vicious finds an opening. Roller Bear also. Both jammers pick up some points there. Oh, pardon, that was the initial for Bear. So, big 16. All right, folks, we got just under 30 seconds until the excitement starts again. Score sits at 101 for Wasatch, 42 for FOCO. Penalty box is empty. We're ready for part two, the final half of the final game of the tournament. Spilly Idol at the jam line next to Devil's Ivy. Wasatch defenders are right up there on the line. And the whistle blows. Off they go. Devil's Ivy swings out wide to the outside. Takes a hit, keeps on going. Ivy is the lead jammer. Oh, and Spilly Idol's headed to the penalty box. We got a power jam. 30 seconds with only the one jammer. Let's see what Wasatch can do with it. Ivy catching a ride on Krasnak and gets through for 4 points. Ivy rolling through, coming to the back of the pack. Swoops in between blockers. Caught him off guard perhaps and scoops up 4 more points. And in they go. Spilly Idol back from penalty land. Idol is still on the initial pass, though. That means Idol cannot score points yet. They've got to get through the crowd and back around to the back again. Defense is really stepping it up now and put the brakes on Devil's Ivy. Ivy tiptoes around the outside. Big old opening there made by the blockers. 4 more points for Ivy. And Idol now on a scoring pass. Devil's Ivy to the back of the pack. On the inside lane. Swings to the outside lane. Calls the jam off. And 3 points more for Devil's Ivy. So 15 big ones on that last jam. Pushing the Wasatch lead just a little bit higher. Roller Bear will be jamming next for Wasatch up against Sid Vicious. Both extremely fast skaters. We'll see what happens here. Vicious out in front a little bit, steps out. Both jammers nudged out of bounds on opposite sides of the track. Recycled back. Roller Bear bounced around like a pinball and back out of bounds. Sid Vicious takes it. Vicious is the lead jammer out in front. Bear trying to find an opening. Can't find one yet. Vicious now swooping through, spinning past 2 defenders. They regroup. Bear spin move right into Popper. Bear's got 1 defender left. It's Popper and takes a knee out of bounds. So Bear's got to be recycled back. That buys a lot of time for Sid Vicious to try to score points. Vicious takes a drop to the ground. Popper heads to the penalty box. Sid Vicious stuck behind the wall of Wasatch. We got a multiplayer called. Penalty assessed on the pivot from FOCO. That is Gonzo. So with 2 blockers down, that seems to be enough to get Roller Bear through the crowd. So Bear on the move now, and Sid Vicious decides to call the jam off. So big 4 points for FOCO and holding Wasatch to 0 on that last jam. Fireball will be the FOCO jammer. Hit and roll for Wasatch. Big old gap there between the jammers and the blockers. Hit and roll, swoops to the outside, slams into Bowser. Bounces off. Hit and roll is going to be the lead jammer. Fireball looking to the inside lane. Almost makes it, steps out of bounds. Has to go back to the back of the pack. Hit and roll down to last jammer. Oh! Takes it hard. And hit and roll is up on their skates, leaving the track under their own power. Always a good sign when there's an injury. Hit and roll will spend a little time in the medic's corner. Rules require that injured player is out for 3 jams just to make sure that everything is safe before they return. So the medics will do their thing. Play will resume here momentarily. All right, that's the end of the official timeout for the injury. Back to business. Bowser is wearing the star for FOCO, and Ivy has it for Wasatch. That's the whistle. Bowser trying to plow through the middle of these defenders, taking the shovey jammer approach. Ivy, a little jukey move there, gets through the pack and is the lead jammer. Ivy out in front. Bowser dropping the shoulder into Lav, gets through. So both jammers on scoring passes. Devil's Ivy to the outside lane. One more jammer to beat. It's Gonzo. Quick feet by Gonzo. Did a great job slowing Ivy down. And Ivy able to call the jam off before Bowser can score points. But great work by the FOCO defense, because that definitely put the brakes on things and slowed the momentum of Wasatch. So we've got one Wasatch blocker in the penalty box. Furious George jamming for Wasatch. Spilly Idol up for FOCO. Whistle blows. George scrambling, trying to get past. Spilly Idol finds an opening in the inside lane, takes it. Spilly Idol's lead jammer. Roller Bear hanging on by a toe stop and fell into the abyss of the center. So Bear's back in. Cap is back on. It is back to scoring business. Spilly Idol's got to get past Colonel Skirts. Takes a hit from behind by Krasnak. And jam is called. So 4 points hard-earned for FOCO. And we've got an empty penalty box. So that's going to be about 80 wheels on the track. Sid Vicious next to Devil's Ivy. Whistle blows. Sid to the inside. Dances on the line. Stays in and upright. Sid Vicious is the lead jammer. That was impressive footwork to keep the balance. Devil's Ivy shoved to the inside. Dances around. Keeps their composure and is on a scoring pass now as well. Sid Vicious taken out of bounds and calls the jam off while being recycled back. So 3 quick points there for FOCO, chipping away at the Wasatch lead. Fireball is our jammer for FOCO, and Furious George for Wasatch. George, lateral movements. Fireball makes it through on the inside lane. Fireball is the lead jammer. George swooping low on the outside lane, trying to get past. Hits some defenders, takes a knee to the ground. Fireball is back now to the back of the pack, trying to shove through and score. Furious George made it through and is on a scoring pass. Fireball is headed to the penalty box. Y'all, we got us a power jam and no lead jammer. That means we're going the full 2 minutes. Furious George trying to dance on the inside ropes. Can't get through. Is recycled back by Jacqueline Hyde. What's this? Furious George is going to the penalty box. So that spits Fireball out. George will sit for as long as Fireball was there. So we have a short power jam for FOCO. We're still going to go the full 2 minutes on this one, though, because there is no lead jammer anymore. Fireball getting pinched there between the two butts of the tripod of Wasatch. Trying to make headway. Can't get an opening there in the middle. Furious George is back from the penalty box. Takes it to the inside lane. Swooping through for 4 points. And we've got us a whistle on the track. Fireball goes to the ground. Gets back up. George is back to score more points. Using their defenders as shields, slammed out of bounds by FOCO's defense. Fireball made it through the fray, picking up 4 points also. George almost got through on the outside line, shoved out by FOCO. They're recycled back. Fireball slams into the tripod, and that is the end of the jam. 8 points earned by Wasatch there. 5 for FOCO. There goes the whistle. Bowser is wearing the star for FOCO. And Devil's Ivy is up for Wasatch. Bowser trying to plow through the middle. Can't quite get it. Steps out of bounds. Ivy looking for an opening as well. Can't find it. Shoved out by Bowser. A little jammer on jammer hit there. Bowser side to side. Can't shake those defenders. Ivy slammed backwards. Gets back up though. Great work by the Wasatch pivot trying to break up these defenders. To their credit, they reform quickly. And by a nose hair, Devil's Ivy skates on just inside of the rope and grabs lead jammer status. Big hit from Bowser, blowing Bip to the ground. Bowser is on a scoring pass now. Devil's Ivy in position to score points as well. Dodging side to side, trying to get past Gonzo. Hard one to beat, and Ivy forced to call off the jam there. 3 points for Wasatch. We have Spilly Idol jamming for FOCO. Roller Bear is up for Wasatch. Tight defense. Both jammers scrambling to get through. Spilly Idol out of bounds. Bear shoved out of bounds. Idol finds an opening in the inside lane. Idol will be the lead jammer. Roller Bear looking for an opening. Almost got one. Shoved out of bounds on the inside track. Spilly Idol making it past one defender now to beat. Almost gets it, trips on the rope and is out of bounds. So Idol is going to go back, way back, as far as they can be recycled. Roller Bear clotheslined as they try to get through. And off they go. So Roller Bear is on a scoring pass. Jam is called off. 4 points go to FOCO. We have Sid Vicious going against Hit and Roll. Hit and Roll back from the injury. Great to see. Trying to rush through, takes a hit, pops back up. Sid Vicious trying to spin around the blockers. No room to spin there. Hit and Roll almost made it through, hits the deck. That might have been, yes, out of bounds, or they're going to play it safe and recycle themselves. So both jammers still on the initial pass, trying to get through. Little pile up there in the middle of the track. Everyone's all right on their feet. Hit and Roll scrambles to the inside, finally makes it through. Hit and Roll as the lead jammer. Sid Vicious fighting, gets it, Vicious is through. No! Vicious cut track call. Headed to the penalty box. We got a power jam. Hit and roll. Spinning into and off of defenders, but getting no headway yet. Hit and roll shoving the entire defense ahead. Gets through. 4 points. Less than a minute left in this jam. Hit and roll is the lead jammer. Trying to make the best of this time without the opposing jammer. Wasatch blockers come in, make an opening, and hit and roll calls the jam off from out of bounds. Very strategic move there. So with the FOCO jammer still in the penalty box, that means we're going to have a power start here. Furious George alone on the jam line. But Sid Vicious is standing. That means there's 10 seconds or less left on that penalty. So let's see what Furious George can do with this. George crashes into the tripod from FOCO. They shove George out of bounds. Sid Vicious back from the box. Both jammers eligible to be lead. No! Furious George to the box. We got another power jam, y'all. And Sid Vicious catching, spinning around, and makes it through. Sid Vicious is the lead jammer. One FOCO blocker headed to the box. One more player for Wasatch headed to the box. Half a minute of solemn reflection on life's choices. Wide open hole. Sid Vicious takes it for 4 more points. And coming around on another scoring pass here. Vicious through, splits the defenders, makes it through for 4 more points. Sid Vicious on a roll. And we got a star pass now. Colonel Skirts picks up the star for Wasatch. And Sid Vicious only has a little time to work. Staying in bounds, makes it through. Colonel Skirts takes a hard hit to the ground, but looks like she's all right. Back up. Calling off the jam. 12 monster points for FOCO. Great jam there. That's a lot of momentum that they could really use here with just under half of the half left, which some people would call a quarter. Still a sizable lead to overcome. Wasatch sitting at 142, FOCO 74. And jam has begun. Bowser trying to plow through the defenders. Devil's Ivy zigzagging, trying to shake him off. No luck for either jammer yet. Bowser shoved out of bounds, recycled back to the starting line almost. Bowser comes crashing in again. Ivy held tight by those defenders. Swinging to the outside now. No purchase. Great defense by both of these teams. Incredible, keeping both jammers at a standstill, basically. Devil's Ivy slammed out of bounds, recycled back a little bit. Bowser's making some headway, but there's still 2 blockers left. Bip digs in there, toe stops, putting the brakes on hardcore. We got more help. They brace up. Bowser gets back to their feet. That's a full tripod to deal with now. And Devil's Ivy finds an opening. Ivy for lead jammer. That's a solid minute of pushing and shoving. Finally gets it. We got a star pass. Gonzo grabs the star for FOCO. Ivy moving fast, nudged out of bounds, and calls off the jam right before Gonzo gets to the pack. So quick 3 points there for Wasatch. And we've got an official timeout being called. Going to take a sec here, give a shout out to some of our sponsors. The Radio from Hell show on X96, sponsoring roller derby and our tournaments this year. Pit Viper sunglasses, been a sponsor for a while, as well as the Pie Pizzeria. Pie has delicious, fantastic pizza. They've been a long time sponsor of roller derby in Salt Lake Valley. And Big Willie's, new to the sponsor list this year. They're the official hangout for Wasatch Roller Derby, and I believe there's some after-party action there after the game tonight. So go grab you some food, some drinks, play some pool, watch some sports. If you didn't get enough tonight, Big Willie's. And more roller derby action will be happening next weekend, May 30th, next Saturday at FitCon. We got 3 games scheduled, 12 o'clock, 2 o'clock, and 4 o'clock. That will not be here. That will be at the Sandy Expo Center. On June 20th, a Saturday, we'll have Beehive Skate Revolution's final bout here in the Derby Depot. Theme will be announced in the future, but it will be a fantastic game to watch. Also, on June 20th, Wasatch Roller Derby is partnering with Anchor Tattoo for a flash tattoo event. That's Saturday, June 20th, starting at 11 a.m. Walk-ins only, but you can get some Derby and or Pride-themed tattoos at that event. Proceeds going to benefits Wasatch Roller Derby. And the final game here in the Derby Depot will be June 27th, the Big Gay Bout. And that tells you everything you need to know. It will be amazing. Pride-themed bout here in the Depot. So, back to Derby time. Spilly Idol jamming for FOCO. Roller Bear for Wasatch. Empty penalty box. Bit of a scramble there as Bear tries to get by. Bear does get by. Roller Bear is the lead jammer. Bear's on the move. Spilly Idol trying to get through the defenders. Wasatch keeps reforming. Idol gets it. Spilly Idol on a scoring pass now. Roller Bear scrambling along the outside ropes. Gets the points. Calls off the jam as Spilly Idol takes a spill into some blockers. But not for nothing. 1 point there going to FOCO. And 4 for Wasatch. Fireball and Hit and Roll are the jammers. Hit and Roll shoved out of bounds. Fireball maintaining their position. We got a little pile up there with Hit and Roll and one of the defenders from FOCO. Big hit from Bowser sends Hit and Roll out of bounds to the ground. Fireball rolls through as the lead jammer. Hit and Roll back to the ground. Pops back up. Fireball on a scoring pass now. Hit and Roll still on the initial, unable to score points until they get through that crowd. Both jammers now held up by defenders. Hit and Roll does make it through. So Hit and Roll in position to score points now. Fireball shoved out of bounds and calls the jam off. But not before 2 points go to Wasatch. So 10 minutes left in the game. Score sits 152 Wasatch, 78 for FOCO. Furious George and Sid Vicious jamming. Bit of a runway to get to the blockers. Both jammers out of bounds on the inside. And we got a high block assessed to Sid Vicious. So they go to the penalty box. We got a power jam. Furious George is the lead jammer. And running it for points now. Round the horn. George approaches the pack. The blockers come in, break up some of that tripod. Furious George takes it to the inside lane. hit out of bounds. A good solid hit there from 770. And George, one blocker to beat, does so. Furious George, 4 points now. Sid Vicious is back from penalty land, crashes into the pack. Furious George takes a sliding fall out of bounds and calls off the jam. Seven points for Wasatch there. And good thing Saren Gasp is quick on her feet. Almost got taken out on that one. So, Big Boss Bowser will be jamming for FOCO. Devil's Ivy is up for Wasatch. The whistle blows. Bowser crashing into the wall of Wasatch. Ivy trying to shove through or around. And Bowser out in front. Bowser's the lead jammer now. And Devil's Ivy down to one last defender. Makes it. Spinning. And not the lead jammer, but still in position to score points. Bowser sees what's coming, calls the jam off. Grabbing 2 more points for FOCO in the process. We got Spilly Idol jamming for FOCO and Roller Bear for Wasatch. Jammer's right up on the line. There's the whistle. Bear to the outside lane. Spilly Idol also to the outside. Idol makes a breakaway, and Spilly Idol, lead jammer. Roller Bear scrambles, trying to catch up. Now it's a 2-wall to beat. 2-wall's got Bear pinned pretty tightly. Spilly Idol back to the Wasatch wall and stopped in their tracks. Roller Bear makes it through and is on a scoring pass. But Spilly Idol calls off the jam. Picking up 3 points for FOCO. Jam number 18 starting now. We've got the pivot for FOCO in the penalty box. Everyone else is on the track. Hit and roll jamming against Sid Vicious. That is the whistle. Off they go. Vicious. Side to side trying to get through. Hit and roll trying to push through the middle of the tripod. Takes the tippy toe walk out of bounds though on the inside lane. Recycled way back. Sid Vicious knocked around a bit by bip. And hit and roll headed to the penalty box. That's going to be a power jam. Sid Vicious, the only jammer for half a minute. Let's see what FOCO can do with this. Pack is on the move. Vicious smashes into defenders. And great work by the defense, making a hole for Sid Vicious to take through. So 4 points for FOCO. Coming around on a second scoring pass now. Sid Vicious eyeing the crowd. Bowser comes in to make a hole. Gonzo comes in to help. Everyone coming in to help. Hit and roll. Not there to help with FOCO. Slamming into the defenders. Trying to get through. Both jammers looking for an opening. Hit and roll on the inside lane. Sid Vicious also on the inside. 4 more points for FOCO. And Vicious calls off the jam. So a quick, tasty 8 points there. Chipping away at that lead. We have Fireball jamming for FOCO. Furious George for Wasatch. Empty penalty box. So 5 on 5. Both jammers crushing through into the same place. Fireball goes down on one knee. George out of bounds on the outside lane. Comes back quickly. We've got one blocker for Wasatch headed in the penalty box now. Both jammers straining against solid defenses. Those tripods are tough to get past. Fireball swinging to the outside. Has to deal with Colonel Skirts there. Furious George knocked out of bounds, drawing a penalty on one of the FOCO blockers there. Still no luck for these jammers getting through. Fireball finally able to stretch the pack out too thin and gets through. So Fireball will be the lead jammer. Furious George makes it through, is on a scoring pass now. Fireball moving quickly, getting past most of the blockers, but out of bounds. See how many points they got. Three for FOCO, and called it quick enough to prevent Wasatch from scoring. Three minutes left in this game, and we got a timeout called by FOCO. Team timeout, so that'll be a whole minute of resting time. So that rolling whistle means the end of the timeout. Big Boss Bowser is jamming for FOCO. Devil's Ivy for Wasatch. Bowser wasting no time, crashing into the defenders. Ivy right on their tail. Ivy finds an opening in the outside lane, takes it. We got a pile up of skaters on the floor there with Bowser. Everyone's back on their skates though. Ivy on a scoring pass now. We got a whistle. And that's going to be Bowser headed to the penalty box. So 4 points go to Devil's Ivy. We've got a power jam. And Ivy gets to the defenders, bounces off a shoulder. Now the Wasatch defenders move in to break up the defense. One defender to beat. Almost makes it. Ivy's shoved out of bounds, though. And back in. We got the pivot for Wasatch going to the penalty box now. Ivy trying to stay in bounds. Hanging on by a toe stop. Gets through on the inside lane. Snagging 4 more points for Wasatch. So, Devil's Ivy scoots past. Quick footwork there. Dodges the defenders. Grabbing 4 more points. Bowser's back from penalty land. We got a star pass there. Going to Popper. Devil's Ivy slamming into the remaining defenders. 2 of them hit the deck. Ivy calls off the jam. Big 16 points there for Wasatch. Huge jam for Wasatch. Minute 20 left on the game clock. We've got Spilly Idol jamming next to Roller Bear. And the defenders settle in. They're close to the line now. Whistle blows. Bear to the inside lane. Swinging wide to outside. Hiding behind Colonel Skirts. Gets through. Roller Bear is the lead jammer. Spilly Idol recycled back to the pivot line. Bear crashing into the defenders now. Swinging a little bit off of Colonel Skirts there. The defense holding tight, though. Spilly Idol down to Colonel Skirts and Bip. Nope, Skates and Ladders. They had to let Spilly through. Roller Bear wide opening there in the inside lane. Take those 4 points and go. And Bear's going to run it. So Roller Bear running it. Spilly idle. Recycle it back. Bear puts on the speed. Gets through for 4 more points. We got 7 seconds left in regulation time. Bear inside jump and managed to land inbounds. Spilly idle going to the penalty box. Game clock has expired. We are on Bears time. Whenever they want to end it, it will end. And that is not ended yet. Roller Bear, 4 more points. Running laps now like it's endurance race here. Bear bouncing off a defender. That was enough to slow the momentum. Bear tiptoes on the outside rope. Take us to the inside. Bear for 4 more points. Few defenders hit the deck in Bear's wake. Now, Jacqueline Hyde back from penalty land for FOCO. Roller Bear still in. And that's going to be the end. Roller Bear calls off the jam. Big 20 points to close out the game.